Today is our final message on this series, and next week we're going to be talking about the bride of Jesus, and that's going to be pretty cool. We're going to have like a marriage ceremony going on, but today we finalize this Welcome Home series, and we're going to be focusing in on this very concept of the table of Jesus Christ. And if you take into consideration, when you're sitting at the kitchen table at your home, you're typically surrounded with people you love, with family members. You're sitting there, you're conversating, you're talking, you're making jokes, you're yelling at each other. Like, imagine the scene in November when Thanksgiving comes around and you have all the crazy people in your family come together. We all have that crazy uncle or that crazy aunt that comes, or that person with 15 kids. I mean, we all have those people, and we sit down together, everyone from probably different outlooks in life, and somebody working in a certain field and another person working in another area in life. And you sit down at the table, doesn't matter where you're at during that time, you're there, you're together, and you love the people that you're with. And the concept of this is very important for me to stress on you, because there is an invitation open for the table of God for every single person here. And it isn't exclusively for the religious folk, for the church folk. It's open invite. And your name is in that invitation. So today I want you to take this into consideration, because I'm going to actually ask you to be a part of this table, to actually come up to the front and sit down at the table, not just so that you could look weird and feel awkward, but just so that you can take it home with you, that the table of God is for you. That God's table isn't for the elite. It isn't for those people that you just watch on TV preaching and asking for money. It isn't just about those people that fill stadiums with thousands of people. It isn't just for those people that wear ties and suits and three-piece suits and wear crocodile shoes. No, it's for you. The table of God is for you. Your name is on this seat. This special invitation is for you. And for that, I want you to open up your Bibles to 2 Samuel chapter 9. Verse 1. If you do not have a Bible, please let us know. We'll give you one free. We have a free Bible to give. Just raise your hand, and right now when my wife comes back, she'll spot you. We have a free Bible for you to take home and read it. You know, as long as you read it, you can take it home. If you don't happen to have one with you and you're embarrassed to ask for one, look at the person's Bible next to you. If they don't have one, then we're in trouble. 2 Samuel chapter 9. Verse 1. Here is King David. We're going to be talking about a very important character in David's life. And here's King David asking a very important question. Is there anyone left from the house of Saul that I may show kindness to for Jonathan's sake? So I'll repeat it again. Is there anyone left from the house of Saul that I may show kindness to for Jonathan's sake? If you remember the story of David and Jonathan, they were great friends. David actually makes a covenant with Jonathan twice about showing favor to his genealogy, to his generations, because Jonathan knew that David was going to be king. Now, the ironic thing about this was Jonathan was next in line to be king, but yet he recognized that the authority that God had given David was there. And instead of having jealousy and instead of wanting to kill him, Jonathan understands it, and he just makes David commit. Look, watch out for my family the day that I die, because I know you're going to be king, but I want you to watch out for my family. Because in those days of Israel, when a king came to power that wasn't part of the family, the king's job was to kill off every single person in that other king's family, so that no chance of revolt would ever take place. So Jonathan was just asking David, just be kind to my family. And he does it twice. And David does. And he commits and he promises, because he loved them as a friend. So the word kindness here, if you want to take an in-depth study of it, the Hebrew word for kindness is grace. Now, we just finished singing a song called Amazing Grace. And sometimes we could understand it a little bit more by by that word kindness, being kind to someone, giving someone a smile, and just kind of being nice, being a nice person. How many of you guys know a nice person? I mean, there's nice people everywhere. There's a lot of mean people everywhere too. But you know, when you meet that nice person, it's like, wow, that's great. And God in here wants to tell us something. Just as David is seeking to show kindness or grace to someone else, that's in the same way God, by sending Jesus, is trying to extend that invitation, letting us know, hey, I'm interested in showing you kindness. I'm interested in showing you grace. Now you can sit back and be like, hold on, why would you be interested in this? And this is where I want you to keep going in this story. So David is looking for somebody to show grace to. He's the king. He's Israel's king. And the king is thinking about other people. Sometimes when you're in a certain level of authority, you don't think of anyone. Like your boss, sometimes you look at your boss and you're like, man, he just sits in that office. He doesn't care about anyone. He's making 6 figures a year. He doesn't care about how hard I work, what I have to do. I mean, sometimes people in authority are like that. Sometimes they're not. But the majority of them are. And here we have King David sitting on this high throne, governing the entire, his entire palace and his entire, all the land that he has conquered. And he's sitting down and he's thinking about somebody else. Now, would you be thinking about somebody else when you're the main man at that moment? So he's trying to extend favor. And this is what we need to understand about grace. It's extending unmerited favor to someone who does not deserve it, someone who has not earned it, and someone that can never repay it. All of us are in debt to God. We're never going to be able to pay the grace. And so in this story, David is looking for someone he can show grace to. And he knows that that person may not have earned it, may not be able to repay it, may not be merited for it. He may not look the part for it, but he does not care. He's asking where this person is. And I want you to understand right now that God, the creator of all things, has sought from heaven through Jesus Christ for a person to show favor to. And now you can never repay him with good deeds. You can never repay him or earn it. You can never do anything to earn it, and you can never do anything to repay it. You're always going to be in debt, but it doesn't matter, because that's what grace does, and that's what grace is. Something that you'll never be able to pay, but there's someone giving that to you. There's someone extending you that favor. And you ask yourself, why? Why me? Why? Who cares about me? And here we go deeper into this story. David is looking for someone to show kindness to in his throne as being king. And we see what he does. So at this moment of being king, of being the main dude, the president of the U.S., I mean the main guy, the decision maker, he's thinking not only in others, but he's thinking in his enemy. Because not only was Jonathan's son, or Jonathan that he's thinking of in the beginning when he's asking of Jonathan's house, but if he's thinking of Jonathan's house, he's obviously thinking of Jonathan's father's house. So he remembers a moment in time where Jonathan's father, Saul, his enemy at the time, because Saul wanted to kill him, he also does a favor for Saul. And Saul at one point realizes, Saul's out there trying to kill this guy. Pretty soon I'm going to make an extensive study on the life of David, because I love this character in the Bible. But Saul realizes at a very early age in his reign, he realizes that David is going to be king. So he tells him the exact same thing his son says. Will you show favor to my family after you become king? So he does. He's thinking about his enemy. This is a moment in time where David has won many wars. He's just gone through so many victories already that he's at the height, at the pinnacle of his career. It's like at that moment, Jordan he made that final shot. He should have just retired and just at the top. This is where he's at. The land was prosperous. There was no need to be gaining other lands to make more money. There was a moment of peace because David had practically killed off all his enemies. It was a moment of peace, a moment of prosperity. And David is thinking about his enemy. He's thinking about someone else to show kindness to you. Now you can't understand that sometimes, and because it's hard for us to understand because we rarely think of anybody else when we're living our daily lives. Sometimes we're stuck in our careers and our jobs and we're pushing forward in what we do and how we live, and we just forget about everyone that's to our side. Sometimes we even forget about our own family members. And we just keep moving forward. And it's hard for us to understand someone thinking about somebody else because we don't even think in other people. And I'm talking about myself as well. And here's King David thinking about another person, thinking about his enemy, and he's not just thinking about them to hurt them or to plot against them. He's like, I want to show grace. I'm the king now. I could do whatever I want. I have all the money I can get. I want to show grace to somebody else. That's just an amazing concept to think of this. So as he asks, you will notice an empty word missing. It's not just that he's asking for someone from, he says anyone from the house of Jonathan. He's not asking, is there somebody qualified from Jonathan's house? Is there someone that has a certain look from Jonathan's house that I can show favor to? He doesn't ask for qualifications. David asks, is there anyone? Now I want you to take that. Say with me, anyone. Anyone. Is there anyone in the house? Anyone. It's not how religious you are, how many times you've been to church, how good you look, how ugly you are, how big you are, how rich you are, how poor you are. He doesn't care. David as king is seeking someone to show favor to, despite qualifications. Sometimes you apply for a credit card. Sometimes you apply for certain immigration status. Sometimes you apply for a lot of things, and they ask you for qualifications. You need to have nowadays like a 780 credit score to get good credit loan, or you want to buy a house. No one just gives you a house anymore because we did that once and everything went down the drain. So now you want to buy a house, you have to sign about 3 million pieces of paper proving that you're going to be able to pay it off. They're asking for qualifications. They're asking for money in the bank. They're asking. And David is not asking. David is just asking, is there anyone I can show favor to? And I want you to really understand this, because if we talk about the Bible and David, it's showing us the way God acts towards us. And God is continuing. All the Bible says they're continual promises for God's children, for people that He has adopted into His family. And He's continually wanting to show goodness and kindness and grace to all of us. And He's not asking for a qualification. He's not asking for how good you are. It doesn't matter. Like tell the person next to you, it doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't. It doesn't matter how many times you came to church last year. Oh, I went 52 Sundays in a row. Bam, top that. No, it doesn't matter. He's just willing. Is there a willing heart? Is there somebody? And God, if He finds that somebody, God will show grace. And you and I are here because God has shown grace. When we took communion today, it was because God showed grace. Amen. Because God was graceful. We never needed to be right with God. He could have just been like, man, this creation was bogus. This creation was just, I should have just erased them, deleted them, and started all over. No, He doesn't ask for qualifications. Then something in verse, if you're in the same chapter, you want to read along certain verses I'm going to be reading. He says in verse 3, 2 and 3, this guy pops up. His name is Ziba. He says, there is, but he is crippled. So David is asking, is there anyone in the house of Jonathan that I can show grace to? And his cabinet and his elders and his leadership team is saying, everyone's looking at each other and kind of like, man, you know what? Yeah, there is. As a matter of fact, there is. But David, the dude is crippled. He's lame. His feet don't work. His legs don't work. He's not a good-looking dude. You know, there's always those type of people that want to like stop God's blessings towards every person's life because they're so religious, or because they're so into themselves, or because they're so self-righteous and they think they're better than everyone in the world. I mean, I've met a lot of pastors like that. I've met a lot of Christians like that. Oh, no, you can't come to church. Your hair is too short, my man. Them glasses have got to go. No, the way you dress, no, you can't wear pants. You're a lady, don't wear pants. He pops up and he's telling David, yeah, there is, but the guy is crippled. And I want you to take this into context because he was lame. The guy was lame. So they didn't have wheelchairs back then. So both of his legs are lame. They can't move. So how does this guy move around? He drags himself place to place. Dirt roads. Those roads were walked by horses, by cows. Those were the main means of transportation back then. So they didn't have cars back then. So obviously horses and buggies were going back and forth. And horses, like humans, use the bathroom, but they don't have a specific place to do it. So it could have been possibly that horses all over the road, going up and down everywhere, there was probably poop everywhere. And here is the guy that Ziba is describing. This person, he's walking around and he's dragging himself on the floor, and he probably smells. He hasn't probably changed his clothes. He's just not a good looking dude. David, you do not want this guy in your kingdom. You don't want to do anything. I mean, here, send them a check and that's it. And David's like, look at David's answer. David answers in verse 4, where is he? So this nice little religious person comes up to David and puts up all these excuses of why not to get this guy into the palace and stuff. David's like, I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you if he was good looking. I didn't ask you how he was. I said anyone. When I mean anyone, I mean anyone. So he asks immediately, where is he? Where is me? Take me where he is. So here's the king, knowing the situation of this lame man, wanting to seek him out. And you see, at times your lives, and just like mine, exactly like mine, lame, crippled spiritually, probably the worst person here. I always say this because I want you to take this into consideration. We're so used to seeing the person up here as being the most religious and the most spiritual person. That's not the case ever, or mostly ever. We're the ones that need God the most. We're the ones that are in such dire need of Jesus being cleansed continually. We need it the most. Like you look at me, I need God probably more than you do. But we're here and we're fighting for it. And so you don't just look at me that way. Don't think that I'm just the spiritual guy and he's probably no. I need it exactly like the guy that Ziba was describing. I'm the crippled, I'm the lame, I'm the guy that's spiritually dragging myself on the floor. And that's me, and that's sometimes all of us. Most of us, we're like that. We're at that stage in our life where we're dragging ourselves spiritually up and down, emotionally up and down. Everything is going wrong in our lives, and we're dragging ourselves up and down. And the King is looking for us. And God is like, I don't care. I just want to know where you're at. I want to know where you're at. I'm seeking you out. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. Don't try to hide. And this is what this guy is doing. So David is asking, where is he? And verse 4 describes a very desperate, ugly place. The name of the place that is described in this chapter, the name of it is Lo Debar. And we take these, it's two Hebrew words that we're going to combine together. And the first word, which is L-O, lo, means no. So pretty simple. Lo, no. Debar means pasture or pasture lands. To make it simplified, like green space, like grass and stuff, where sheep are. So if you put them two together, it's no pasture land, no pastures, no life. So that just basically symbolizes a place, a barren place, a place where no life exists. So take this into consideration. Here's this crippled, lame guy, not qualified to sit at the table, not qualified to be with the king. He's sitting in a place that is barren, that is nasty, that is ugly. It could be like considered I read recently on the Washington Post that Chicago has about 4 of the worst cities to live in all of the United States. And it's talking about like four areas in Chicago, and I'm like, one of them is Garfield Park, I think, and I forgot the other. But it's like one of those places that if your chances of dying there are very high. They gave percentages of how more probable that something will happen to you if you go there, and probably die if you go there. So that's where this guy was, a place where no life existed, no life was coming up. It was barren, it was poor, it was horrible. A poor, crippled man in a poor place in his life, and that describes the story of a lot of us, crippled, lame, ugly, spiritually just deformed, and we're living in a place hiding away from what could possibly be our destiny, but we're hiding away in a place that is dead, in a place that has no life, and we're stuck there, we're depressed there, we're okay living our life there. It's fine. There's nothing here. There's nothing here for me. I'm a nothing. I'm a nobody. This is the exact place I need to be. So this guy was over there. And his name, if his life wasn't bad enough, check out his name. His name is Mephibosheth. And I'm having a baby boy pretty soon. In February is his due date. I probably wouldn't name him Mephibosheth. And if you would, that'd be cool. And I would applaud you for that. But me, I wouldn't name my son that. So his name is horrible. His name is bad. His name means bad. And he's in a place that's bad. And the way his body looks is bad. Everything about this guy is just like, dude, you got the short end of the stick in life, man. Like, man, it sucks for you, man. Where you're at, man, I'm glad I'm not there. So that's where this guy was. But I want you to take into consideration, remember I told you earlier on that kings that came up to power and dethroned the other king typically erased the entire family of the previous king, so no chance of revolt and all this would happen. So Mephibosheth was one of the last people in the lineage of Saul. And as soon as David came into power, Mephibosheth, the woman that carried, the servant that carried him, they found out that David came to power. She picks up Mephibosheth as a young boy, and she takes off running to a faraway land, probably going to Lo Debar, where no one cares about, so the king would probably never go there and never be there. And she's coming and running, and she's taking off, and then she drops the boy. And so that's where he gets crippled, because both of his legs get crippled. She might have broken his bones, and back then they didn't have what we have. So she might have just kept dragging him and never healed. He was there. That's how his sickness came to be. So he's hiding away in a place because he's afraid of the king. The king is the enemy of my grandpa. My grandpa hated the new king, so obviously the king is going to want to kill me. Obviously the king has a grudge against me. Obviously the king is going to come at me, come after me, want to hurt me more. So I'm going to go away and I'm going to hide, and I'm going to be in a place where no one will care about, where no one will ask questions about. I'll just kind of go there and live the rest of my life until I die. And most of us are in that same boat because we think that God is just a God of hatred, a God of anger and brimstone and fire. And although he encompasses that fire with him, and Psalms teaches us that fire walks before him, and it's part of who he is, but the church has painted God in such a way where God is always angry. I mean, even the images that we have of him, God's always like upset and he's mad at the world and he's mad at you, and he just hates you, and he hates everyone, and he hates this and he hates that, and everyone's in sin all the time, and that's kind of the picture we have of God. So it's like, why do I want to be anywhere near that guy? Let me run away as fast as I can, or let me drag myself, my spiritual depravity out of by myself, and let me go away to the furthest place away from God, because I cannot be there. God does not like me. God does not want me near him. God will probably just kill me if I get anywhere close to a church. I remember my friends telling me, man, if I go to church, I think lightning will strike me if I go, because I'm just such a bad person. Like, they will strike me down as soon as I come in. I'm like, dude, it hasn't struck me down yet, so you're probably in the safe place. And so this guy, Mephibosheth, is taking off. He doesn't want to be there because the king could kill him. He just rather just be off in a barren, no life place. And sometimes we're there. Sometimes you're there. I've been there. Believe me, I've been there. The lowest parts of my spiritual life, the years of most spiritual death in my life, running away from God because it's just, I couldn't take it. And a lot of us put up that excuse and hold that up towards God and just say, let me live my life. I know the whole church thing. I know the whole religious thing. It's not for me. It's pretty sometimes. It's cute, but I can't be a part of that. And God is like David sitting on the throne saying, man, you have a wrong opinion about me. And David is like, let me seek out this person that needs my help. Let me seek out this person that I can show grace to. So God is chasing us and running us, and we're hiding in the worst place possible. We're stuck in depression. We're stuck in a hole. We're stuck in a place where we do not want to be, but we're just gonna suck it up and stay there until something happens. And God is seeking out. So Mephibosheth is there, and David is looking for him, and he's seeking out for him, and he finally gets there. And I want you to take this into consideration. What an awesome sight. Here's this guy that is lame and crippled in the poorest hood of all time, and he's just there at that moment, and he finds out that the king is looking for him. So can you imagine the feeling knowing, man, the king found out where I lived? Like, goodness, I was doing so fine, so well. No one knew about me. But now he's coming after me, so I obviously can't run away from here. I'm just gonna have to stay here and see what happens. So he's afraid, but as soon as he enters, you could read it in Samuel, 2 Samuel chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. As soon as David enters the scene of this wonderful story, David had a different look. David had a yes face. David had a smile on his face because he remembered the covenant he made with his father Jonathan. And he said, I promised this. I had a covenant with your father to show you favor, and I finally found you, and now I can execute my covenant. See, Jesus has made a covenant with his father to show favor to you, and when he sees you and when he finds you, and sometimes it's in a place like this, Sometimes it's in a place where you don't ever want to be in, but then you find out you're there and you get confronted with it. And Jesus is like, that's awesome that you're here, man. I finally could meet you face to face and talk with you one-on-one and let you know I'm here to show you grace. You don't deserve it. You're never going to earn it. You're never going to be good enough for it, but I'm just going to give it to you. And David is standing before Mephibosheth just like that. And then the story goes on, and Mephibosheth is so embarrassed, so scared, and he throws himself on the floor to the king, and he tells the king, man, I don't even deserve to be your dog. Like, he tells him like that. Keep reading the story, and he's before the feet of the king, just like, I don't even deserve to be your dog. This is not, you don't need to do anything, just kill me. He's kind of just trying to get it out of the way. And David's like, man, you don't understand. I'm here to show you grace, man. I'm here to show you favor. I did this with your dad, and it doesn't matter. I don't care where you're at right now. I don't care. Maybe you've plotted to kill me. Maybe you've hated me your entire life. Maybe you just have these bad ideas about me. Maybe you've been wanting to burn down my house. Maybe you've been wanting to kill my kids, or whatever it is. I don't care. I'm here to show you grace. I'm here to be with you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to take you. And that scene, in so many cases in my life, I thank God for that scene, because I play it back and forth and just realize that God, when he finds me hiding, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm just like, God, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it. I acted like a fool. And you're kind of hiding your face, and Jesus is like, dude, I made a covenant with you. I made a covenant with my Father to show you grace. My blood, the symbolic blood that we did today, is like, my blood makes you acceptable unto my Father. And so you don't have to worry, man. You don't. And what this blood does is that it takes away your sin. And sometimes, if you allow it, it takes away the desire for sin. Some of us just want to be forgiven, but we keep doing the same thing. And the blood of Jesus, when it's properly received and attained, it deletes your sin, but it takes away your desire to sin. It's like, man, I'm a fornicator, I'm an adulterer, I swear like crazy, I drink like crazy, and then I'm an alcoholic, I'm a druggie, whatever it is. And God is, it's like, man, my blood is not only gonna just erase what you've done, but it's gonna take that desire of wanting to do it again and just delete it. It's been impressive. I've been in meetings here. I've met people here that told me, I drank every day. I partied every weekend. I was at the club every Friday, every Saturday. I drank and drank and drank, and I loved to drink. And then they tell me, but then I came to church one Sunday and something happened. I can't explain what, but from there on out, I never have drank. And I'm like, really? How long has it been? A couple of weeks, 2 days, 3 days? Like, it's been like 4 years. I'm like, that happened in one day? Did you go to an AA class or anything? No. In one day, my whole life was changed. And I'm like, that's the power of the blood of Jesus Christ. That's the power of the blood. And I met him, and you know what? He's still here. He comes to our Spanish church, but he's here. He's a living proof. It's not a story that I'm making up. He told me, it's like, I drink every day, every party I could do, every time. I love drinking. God took that away. It was killing his family. It was killing his marriage. It was killing any opportunity he had with his wife. And he took it away. I'm like, man, that's God. That's awesome. And Mephibosheth is standing before the king. And David's just like, I'm just deleting everything. I'm taking everything away. And now he invites him in to the palace, to the house. He invites him into his house. And now he gets to sit at the table with the rest of the king's family. So as the musicians come up, I want you to take this into consideration. This no good dude, this guy that didn't look the part, didn't act the part, didn't smell the part. He's being adopted. He's taken out of the place of no life. Can you visualize the contrast here? Here's Lodabar. Here's the worst city in Chicago to live in, and now you're going to the White House, homeboy. You're going to Bill Gates' house now. I mean, you're going to the Trump Tower, the last floor on the Trump Tower, and the whole penthouse suite. That's where you're going. You came from here, and God is picking you up. You're lame. You can't walk. You're spiritually dead. You don't look good. You don't smell good, and God is picking you up, taking you on His shoulder, and He's like, forget this place of death, and let's come to this place of life. And that's what God could do to many of us here today. Take you out of that place. You're stuck in that place. You're stuck in Lodabar. You're there, and you've accustomed yourself. You just believe that that's where you always have to be. That's where you always will be, and you will always have to live your life there. And God's like, I want to show you grace. Let me take you out of there today. Let me get you out of that place, and let me show you what it is to live in my presence. So the king takes Mephibosheth from a place like that, and he takes him to the palace, and he brings him in. He changes his clothes. He probably takes him a shower. He makes him smell good, and he combs his hair, and he combs his beard, because those guys had beards. And he makes him look the part at the table of God. I want you to take this into consideration. At the table, we have the wonderful King David. I'm going to ask my friend Henry to come up to the front. I'm going to ask him to play that wonderful part. Right here at the head of the table. He's clean cut, has a nice collar, shirt on, nice shoes. There's King David at the table. And he's sitting there. And then what else? We have the wise and clever advisor to the king, which is Amnon. Now I need someone that looks wise and clever. Speedy, you're walking already. Come over here. You look wise and clever. You look like an advisor. So I want you to take a seat at that chair right there. And then we have at the table here Joab, which is his commander-in-chief, the guy that leads all his army, the muscular soldier. Now, Misael, you look like a muscular soldier, my man, so I need you to come up here with your little muscular man if you can. Here's Joab. Tall, muscular. Then we have one of David's daughters, Tamar. Beautiful. Daisy, don't go anywhere. A beautiful young daughter named Tamar. And she's at the table too. Sitting down at the table. Nice, beautiful Tamar with her new haircut. A nice little dress. Then we have baby Solomon. Baby Solomon is right here too at the table. The newborn baby, the pride of the whole house. And then at this scene where all these big time people, the sons, the true sons of the king, like the people that needed to be at the table, the sons, his sons. Can you imagine Mephibosheth, disgusting and ugly and lame and just dirty, and he comes and he sees all these people here, and he's like, no, you can't sit me down there. Let me sit over here with this guy. Let me sit with this guy over here. I can't sit there, man. I can't go there. I can't be a part of that. And David the king is like, you can do it, man. Come here. And he sits him down. And not only that, but he sits him right next to the king. And imagine the feeling of Mephibosheth sitting down at this table. The doesn't deserve to be here, could never have earned it, never could pay for this spot. And he's sitting at the table with all these wonderful people that do deserve to be here. And he's sitting here, lame, his feet don't work, and everyone's looking at him like, what's this guy doing here? Like, why is he here? And David's is like, man, I'm showing him favor. I'm showing him grace. I don't care what you guys think. He belongs here. He's my son too. I have adopted him into my family. And at the table he's sitting down, doesn't belong to be here, but the chair gets pulled in, the bench gets pulled in, and as they're eating at the table of God, everyone is at the same level. Everyone is at the same level. I can't see his legs. I can't see his legs. I can't see hers. I can't see the king's. No one can see my imperfections when I'm at the table of God. And Jesus is calling you, man. God is calling you. Your imperfections don't matter when you're sitting down at the table of God. It doesn't matter. It's covered. You could sit down pridefully, proud that you're at the table of God. You're sitting there with other great people, and you were chosen. You were carried there. And it's just such an awesome story, because that's what happened to a lot of us. That's how a lot of us are. We're sitting at the table, and we have no business being there. We're never good enough to be there. And we're sitting at the table, and we're enjoying dinner every night because God opened up the doors to his table.